it says that they had a kingdom to give, means that they must have gotten it from somewhere. But they do not get it. They do not get it up just on their own. They do not get it just on their own. I don't know where that up come from. God placed it in their hearts to do so. Again, the question, where did communism get a kingdom to give? At the top of the page, inspiration, though, answered that very question. Let's read. Just this, just how this is to come about, I do not know. But I do know that the greatest of all wars is to be fought about the Holy Land. Let me repeat that. Just how this is to come about, I do not know. But I do know that the greatest of all wars is to be fought about the Holy Land. So how will communism or the communist-like power gain their kingdom? According to inspiration, according to the Bible, they will gain it through war, through the greatest of all battles, which will be fought in the promised land. The evidence, brothers and sisters, line up beautifully. So we have something more from 12 track 54-55. Something to say about the same topic as to the transition and how it will come about. Remember now we are talking about communism, because communism, as we are seeing here, is going to be the beneficiary, if you will, of this upcoming war. Because God purposes it so, or God at least will allow it to be so. Reading, it says, the warring nations are already divided into two distinct ideological camps. On the one side are the democratic governments, it should be, while on the other side is the totalitarian, two blocks, two legs of Daniel's image. If the latter continues successfully to prosecute their relentless conquest for world dominion and sovereignty, the only victorious way out for the Christian nations, as they humanly view their plight, will be to surrender their power to the church. You see that? This is what is happening. The West will surrender the government, the civil power, to the church. As simple as it is, as far-fetched as you may think it is, we need to focus on this a bit before we continue. According to what inspiration is telling us, that there are two ideological camps. That means the East and the Western Bloc. The communist side and the Western side, or the democratic government. This is saying that if they continue successfully to prosecute their relentless conquest, in other words, to keep striving for world dominion and sovereignty, the only victorious way out for the Christian nations would be, as they see it, humanly speaking, will be to surrender their power to the church. That's what we are seeing, that we are talking about the West right now. Talking about how the mark of the beast will come about. Now let's continue with that in mind. Continuing the reading. For seeing Catholics set against Catholics, this is talking about the war now, and Protestant against Protestant in mortal combat. They will in dread fear to be inspired to saddle the beast. Yes, that means the scarlet-colored beast. And to re-establish the church as its driver in order to free themselves from the shackles of totalitarianism. That means communism. Did you get the lesson here, brothers and sisters? In other words, in order for the West to free themselves from totalitarianism, they will have to turn to the church. Church is powerful. Remember, the merchants weep because the merchants got their riches from the church. At least as they view it. That is humanly speaking, but how would such a case come about? Or that is, how will the West find herself needing to get out from under the shackles of totalitarianism? That is, again, communism as we know. How will that come about, brothers and sisters? How will such a condition take place? That is unthinkable by some. As you watch and listen to the government right now, it is unthinkable, of course. The tariff on China, as they say, you see headlines from time to time. China has to bow, and sanction on Russia, and Russia has to bow, and Russia came out of all the sanction unscathed. Russia, because Russia was being supported just the same during the war with Ukraine. Russia was selling oil, and hear this, it is said that Russia sold the crude oil to India. India bought the crude oil from Russia, and of course India sell the oil, either refine it and sell it to America, so it gets right back to New York. The same sanction they put on Russia caused Russia to circumvent and send the oil right back, and it was being sold in the capital city, New York. So what you think is unthinkable, you better know that it is a reality. They will see victory in this stratagem. That's the West, they say. They will see victory in strategizing and turning to the church. This is inspiration speaking. They will see victory in this stratagem. If it be denied them in war, when they lose the war, they will go to their stronghold. They will see victory in this. It seems to me that this is the strategy that they will take after losing in the Middle East. In other words, the West then, in order to safeguard Christianity and to free itself from the shackles of totalitarians, they will see victory, or they will see hope in this strategy in trying then to put the church as the driver, the leader. In fact, they will do more than try. They will actually make the church the driver. Force the church. They will surrender their powers to the church in hopes or thinking that it will free them from totalitarianism or communism and safeguard Christianity. Let's observe that once more, one more time. Just this last part for a little bit, going back, cementing it, so to speak. Again, foreseeing Catholics set against Catholic and Protestant against Protestant in mortal combat spiritually. How do we know it's not spiritual war. Well, what did I get here? They will in dread fear to be inspired to saddle the beast and to reestablish the church as its driver in order to free themselves from the shackles of totalitarianism and to safeguard Christianity. Brothers and sisters, here we are looking on some armament, and I guarantee you nations fell when they are best armed. They will see victory in this stratagem if it be denied them in war. Now, looking at the bottom, the Word of God continues. Such a combination of circumstances will result in a replication of the international church and state rule of the Middle Ages, and will relegate to the scrap heap the world's finest instrument of human liberty, the divinely inspired Constitution of the United States of America. So this is how the mark of the beast comes about. It comes about as a result of losing the greatest of all battles in the promised land. Then, now having no other recourse, as they view it, humanly speaking, the West will then set up the church as the driver. The woman there, in other words, and will surrender their power to the church, thinking that they will save them. And it does, it seems, for a time, but God is not in it. God is not in it and will not be in it. God is not in it and will not be in it. All right, I think we have reached a stage where we can we'll come back to this and talk a little more about communism fully. Communism threatened the world. We'll pick up on that. Let's just read this. The West will then set up the church as a driver. We read that. Time of greetings. Inspiration makes a passing comment about communism that is of importance. This is Time of Greetings, volume 1, number 12, page 24. And there's about the middle of the page. Zechariah 2:9 says, or behold, I will shake my hand upon them, and they shall be spoiled to their servants, and he shall know the Lord of hosts have sent me. Speaking about this, or commenting on this verse, Inspiration says, servants spoiling their masters is one of the signs at the times. Signs of the time. At the time of this prophecy is brought to light. And the world knows that labor and management are now engaged in their greatest struggle. That is as a result of communism. That communism threatens the whole world. We'll pick up at communism, but you see it's an intermingling of all of that. This is where we will stop. It's an intermingling of communist is the antagonist. And so when we talk about the West and the fall of the West, the communist threat comes squarely up front. God bless you. May God bless and keep you. May God cause his face to shine upon you. May God lift up his countenance upon you and give you that peace. Please join us again as we study into the Word of God. Last day events. These are critical for our time. God bless you. Take care of yourself.